Most people would be like, I had no idea that was even a possibility or a thing. And I think that was a huge learning for me, is like, okay, AI is moving so quickly and the entire kind of AI world is moving ahead in a really rapid pace. So I got to keep up and I got to learn more about Claude and maybe even shifting from ChatGPT to Claude and Cowork.
Welcome to the Happy Clients Podcast, brought to you by Dot & Company. Whether you're a virtual assistant, an agency owner, or a client-facing account manager, we all deal with clients. Lucky for you, client management is what we do best. Now, let's dig in, chat cam life, and have some fun along the way. Cheers to Happy Clients.
E2M is a proud sponsor of the Happy Clients Podcast. If you're running a digital agency, you know the hardest part isn't getting clients. It's delivering consistently without burning out your team or hurting margins. E2M helps agencies scale confidently as a behind-the-scenes, white-label fulfillment partner. From web development and SEO to paid media, US-based content, e-commerce, and even AI, they plug into your agency so your clients get great results under your brand. No freelancers, no chaos, just reliable delivery that helps you keep clients happy and growing. Find out how E2M can support your agency at e2msolutions.com/dot. Welcome back to another episode of the Happy Clients Podcast. Today I have two very special guests, Tiffany and Sarah from the Dot team, and we're excited to dive into Vistara and what that looked like for us. We just came back from an AI agency event in Austin, Texas, which was hosted by E2M, and we learned a lot. I'm sure you both agree, but we want to share with you some of our learnings, what agencies are looking at right now when it comes to AI, especially in the account management lens. And so we wanted to chat about what we learned, but would love to hear from each of you, like some big takeaways, like what agencies were talking about to you at the event and kind of what those conversations looked like.
I think honestly, the most conversations that I were having were with agency owners that felt like a little bit reactive with the conversation around AI and felt that they were burning more time than they were getting back from using it. And so we were talking a lot about like, how do we shift the approach to start seeing the value come through even in small ways, integrating it into your day-to-day business operations and balance learning and being curious, but also in running a business and spending time where it matters most.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel like a huge theme at Vistara was if you are not adapting to AI right now, you're falling behind. And it was funny to kind of see the composition of the room, to see people's faces when Kushbu would speak about different AI elements and just how E2M specifically is using AI. And most people would be like, I had no idea that was even a possibility or a thing. And I think that was a huge learning for me, is like, okay, AI is moving so quickly and the entire kind of AI world is moving ahead in a really rapid pace. So I got to keep up and I got to learn more about Claude and maybe even shifting from ChatGPT to Claude and Cowork. I think that was a huge learning for me as well, of the elements of both tools and platforms and what could work better for your day to day.
It was a really interesting conversation around agentic AI. That was a huge focal point for us. I think we're on this really cool cusp between generative AI and people feeling like AI is just to answer questions, right? Like I can just ask it about things and have a conversation. But a big part of what we talked about was, no, it does the things for you. And I think that's what a lot of agency owners are having a hard time understanding and utilizing, is like, we use Cloud Cowork internally and it can go through my files and create the things that I ask it about. And so it goes one step further and the capabilities change the way that we're using AI.
Yeah, I think for me as well, the big message was that everyone's behind. Like, I think no matter where you're at on the spectrum of AI knowledge and comfortability, you always feel behind, right? Because every day you wake up, there's something new. There's a new evolution of, you wake up and there's Claude Design. You wake up and there's this other tool that can do X, Y, Z. And you just never feel up to speed. And I think it was really cool to get in a room with AI experts with agency owners and to kind of bridge that together and say like, okay, here's what you can do with AI and here's how you do it. But then layered with E2M who can actually execute it for the the agency owners, because that's where seemingly most of them got overwhelmed, was like, here's all the ideas.
Yeah.
But how do I actually put that into practice in my agency? So it was cool to kind of see not only how overwhelmed everyone got, but then at the end, everyone was like, okay, like people can help me do this and I don't have to do it all alone. Or should I? But that, yeah.
I even feel like with AI, I think people at the very beginning were just kind of learning it, doing it on their own. And now it's become such a beast where it's like, it literally is a full-time role in agencies, where if you don't have somebody dedicated to learning AI and keeping up with it every single day, you're unfortunately likely going to fall behind.
Yeah.
Or if you're dedicating it as the agency owner, you're losing growth, revenue, sales, strategy, whatever your actual role should be at an agency.
Yeah. That was interesting to see. From your perspective, we had our own booth, Dot & Co. And we got the chance to talk to pretty much every agency that was there. What were some of those conversations around AI with account management that you were having?
That's a great question. There were a couple of questions. I think the overlying theme was, how do your account managers use AI, or how do they even integrate into our tech stack, our platforms, our softwares? And so essentially when we partner with agencies, of course, we're going to fully integrate into whether they're using ChatGPT, Claudework, whatever that looks like. So at that point, we really just own that role in the way of efficiencies for processes, systems, automations, and really operations. I think a huge part of our role 5 years ago probably took us a lot more time to create those systems and processes. Now, over the years and our knowledge, especially with the use of AI, we're able to do all of that systems and automations in a fraction of the time. So it's really buying us back our time in order to take on more clients or take more client calls or work on retention and happiness in that sense. So it's really just using it to our best ability to help our role.
Yeah, I think that it's definitely changing the landscape of the account management role entirely. And we're talking more about ways that we can show up in new ways, like in more impactful ways to use our time. So I'm so excited by those conversations because it's a lot of, rather than logistics and business ops, we're talking about how do we use the time that we have now to go over and above to surprise and delight our clients, to roll out the red carpet. I think like what Dot & Co does so well is like we focus on those personal relationship, extra touch spaces, and the AI conversation changing, the amount of time we focus on project management and the coordinating of logistics. It's freeing us up to focus in those spaces more. And so my conversations were more around like, what are you spending your time on that you buy back now? How are you showing up even better for your clients?
What kind of questions or expectations did you find agency owners are having for the account management role now? Like, are they expecting account managers to come in as the AI experts, or are they looking for account managers to just use what the agency has already built? Like, what did you hear in terms of expectations?
Yeah, I would say the expectations of the account management role don't necessarily fall under we have to be experts in AI, but I think it goes to the same sentiment of like, if they're not using AI, they are falling behind in their role. And I think especially at Dot & Co, we always want to make sure that our team is trained up to be the experts in this seat. So AI is now just a part of it. So I think learning how to utilize, even building ChatGPT bots, for example, I think that's something that I really grew into a few months ago. And now that really supports me in my sales process. It supports me in matching account managers with agencies, really ensuring that I'm actually dedicating all that grunt work and admin work time to bringing in more leads and prospecting and doing what I actually like to do. So I think that's kind of the element that we're not necessarily experts in AI. However, we're going to be using it in our role to help out.
Yeah, exactly. We're approaching it the same way we approach conversations around web dev and SEO, right?
Right.
Account managers aren't going to come into your agency and build your website and, do keyword research for you, but you can be a level of expertise where you can own those conversations, know how the tools work, know the landscape, and make expert recommendations and guide the conversations. And I think that's the level that we want to see all account management be, is these people that are having pivotal conversations around business operations, and they need to be able to navigate a conversation about AI and how to use it, and then work with the agency to partner with the experts that can actually make that happen.
I also think a huge benefit of something like a community of 35 account managers on our team is that everybody is working in multiple agencies. Everybody is seeing how maybe an SEO agency is utilizing AI versus maybe what we've done to process that out and make that work. And we can share those findings. It's kind of like knowledge transfer within the team of not even just SEO and paid ads, but now of AI as well.
Yeah, we've got this crazy network of knowledge sharing, and everybody can understand, like, hey, I've tried all these different things. Like, don't reinvent the wheel here. Like, this is what worked for me. So let's jump on board with the best practices, like the industry leading changes.
Yeah. And I think like in our role, Brent and I were talking about this when we were together for our strategy sessions recently. But once you adapt AI into your day-to-day, such as account managers in our day-to-day, you can't go back.
Yeah.
Right? Like once you build in these efficiencies, you're using co-work doing all the admin for you, like there's no going back from this.
Right.
So we have to be trailing forward and figuring it out as we go and layering in these things into our day-to-day for not just us, but for our account managers, for our agencies. And it's changing how we do work in the businesses. I'd love to hear from you both, like based on what you heard at Vistara and from working with the E2M AI team, what are you doing differently at DOT now for not even just the internal DOT, but for our account managers? And where do you see some of these AI elements being brought into the agencies that we work with?
That's a great question. I think for me personally, the huge lift in AI is for the matching process and the placement process that we do internally at DOT. So essentially when I'm chatting with agency owners every day, bring them on board, and I'm trying to find the strongest fit alongside our leadership team, it was very manual, and it would take me personally away from my sales time, hours out of my day to select time zone, personality fit, how people's experience line up, as well as just personality matches. So that's all very technical, manual, looking at sheets. But now with the support of E2M on the AI side, we've been able to completely streamline that process, actually build out a matching bot where once an agency owner fills out kind of a next steps form, they give me all that information as well as call recordings to get the kind of that sentiment of personality. It then feeds it into a bot, and that supports me with just kind of the matches of our entire roster. From there, of course, I'm still chatting with account managers, chatting with senior leadership to solidify that fit, but it takes a lot of the manual work out of my day. Probably saved me 6 hours a week at least.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I was going to say, honestly, I think the matching is the biggest impact that we've felt as a business after integrating AI, because it took us from, and it was just a small change. Like we didn't do anything crazy. We didn't build a whole new function of the business. And we kept trying, and we found one small thing that worked really well for us, which was that kind of custom GPT function. And from a business operations perspective, that took us from like 4 to 6 weeks for matching, sometimes like over a month, a few weeks at best, usually, to 3 business days. And we were finally able to have conversations around solving for the customers that were constantly coming through the door, panicked, saying, I need a hire for this role yesterday. And how do you tell them that, you're going to get them a solution in a month from now? You can't. And so we've been able to show up better for our customers because of that small change. And I think that that's been a huge impact that we've seen just with a small amount of like AI testing internally. So I'm excited to see what comes. Yeah.
Amazing. So for anyone who missed the event, what would you say to them? Maybe like, what are some of the things that are coming for Dot & Co CAMs that they didn't get to see, or like maybe a sneak peek into where we're going?
I'd say that the landscape of the role is changing, and we've got a lot of effort focused towards adapting and changing how we approach account management, the tools that our team is showing up with. I think we've had a lot of big conversations around how can we best equip our team? How can we practice what we preach? And, as a leadership team, start to invest our time and energy into learning. I personally want to take an education first, top-down approach at Dot & Co. So let's, as leaders, learn and get interested and curious and start trying, and then elevate the team to start testing and learning, and how do we provide them with access to resources where they can show up and start having stronger conversations and leading those conversations in agencies. Because I think it's really important to foster that environment to allow the team to get curious and start using tools, because it's not about having like the right solution and setting everyone up with like the one thing, the one skill. Everyone's going to iterate, and the landscape's changing so rapidly. I think just encouraging people to learn and get curious and test in their day-to-day workflows is the best way to approach it.
I would agree with that sentiment. I think the more involved we get in AI, the better we're going to be at it. Like, I think it is a very intimidating topic for a lot of us still. But once you get your feet wet, you get involved, you also see what your other client account managers on the team are utilizing and how they're doing it. It becomes easier of a load to take on.
So we'll keep you all posted on future events. But if you have questions or need help with AI, our partners at E2M specialize in AI, so we can definitely help. Please reach out. We are a resource when it comes to basically anything agency AI related. We're more than happy to point you in the right direction. But yeah, we will be constantly talking about AI here on the show and sharing what we're doing, what we're adapting, what E2M is bringing into DOT, even some of their really cool dashboards and things like that we are able to adapt. But I hope this gave you a good look into what Vistara was, and hopefully you can make it to the next one and meet us in person and bring some of these AI evolutions into your agency. Thanks for tuning in to another episode, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Cheers to happy clients.